joining my colleagues and I who represent the Republican caucus in the state Senate here in Minnesota today to talk to you about keeping kids safe in schools and classes, improving overall student performance, and mandate relief for schools and districts. I'm State Senator Zach Duckworth, and as chief author of the SHIELD Act, also known as the Safe Haven in Every District Act, I'm proud to fight for something that unites all of us: keeping Minnesota kids safe in school. No parent should drop their child off wondering if the building is truly protected. This bipartisan bill delivers real resources to make every school a safe haven. The SHIELD Act provides dedicated grant funding through the Minnesota School Safety Center, a free, trusted resource every school already uses. These grants cover proven security upgrades, electronic access controls, ballistic-resistant glass and wall panels, mass notification systems, and essential training for security staff. It's straightforward, practical funding with minimal red tape, just practical tools districts need to strengthen safety right now. By now, we are well aware that there are many options for schools to keep kids safe. This bill provides grant funding through the Minnesota School Safety Center, which is a free resource for every school to pay for security updates and additions. We're ensuring every Minnesota school becomes a true safe haven and showing that we can come together across party lines to prioritize our kids' safety above all else. School safety isn't a Republican or a Democrat issue. It's something that every Minnesotan cares about. And this bill has bipartisan support in the Senate. And we agree that schools know their needs best. This bill empowers them with flexible grants to implement multi-layered security that fits their community, whether upgrading entry points, adding alerts, or training staff to respond fast. Parents get peace of mind. Teachers can focus on teaching, not worrying. Every child gets to learn in an environment where safety is state-of-the-art and a priority. No more leaving families and educators wondering if their school has the protections it needs. We're giving districts the resources to act so every child can learn in a safe environment where parents can feel confident and teachers can focus on what they do best, teaching. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Julia Coleman. I represent District 48 in the eastern portion of Carver County. I'm also the Republican lead on education policy. For years, Republicans have been laser focused on protecting students, strengthening school safety, improving achievement, and empowering parents. We've held hearings, pushed legislation, and fought for real solutions because Minnesota kids deserve safe classrooms and strong futures. As a mother raising 3 young boys, I am deeply invested in ensuring every child has a safe and excellent education. We can take meaningful steps as lawmakers to enhance school safety and increase parental involvement. I've had a middle school teacher from St. Paul in my office, sobbing as she described the hidden crisis. Parents have no idea how severe the internal violence is. She says her middle schoolers are joining gangs and bringing weapons to school just to feel protected. Teachers are on the front lines, seeing the reality every single day. They shouldn't have to stay silent out of fear. That's why Senate File 676 is so critical. It requires schools to notify parents and teachers within 24 hours of a violent incident on school grounds, including details on injuries or weapons involved. It also protects staff from retaliation when they report concerns. Parents deserve the truth immediately. Teachers deserve protection to speak out. No more hiding the danger. Senate File 4023 from Senator Abler strengthens early grade classrooms. It allows schools to dismiss a K-3 student for 1 partial day and 1 full day after a serious incident. This gives time to collaborate with parents, address the issue, and help the student return ready to learn, benefiting the whole class. This is a top issue we hear from our districts. A brief reset protects everyone and keeps classrooms safe. I'm also proud to co-author Senate File 3666, a Jordan Rasmussen bill. It pushes for personalized learning plans with evidence-based interventions for students not meeting grade level proficiency. If it's in the student's best interests, it requests retention to ensure they're prepared for the next grade. Reading unlocks futures. Promoting unprepared students fails them and our state. As chief author of Senate File 753, I'm championing transparency. It requires schools to provide parents access to review all curriculum materials upon request, including textbooks, videos, and online resources. It also requires written parental consent before providing any sexual education to minor students. Parents have the right to know and decide. No more secrets in education. These bills put students, teachers, and parents first. Safe schools and engaged families means real success. Prioritize students. That's our duty here. Look at the Capitol. We quickly added security screenings and more troopers for our protection. If we protect ourselves that way, our children deserve the same urgency. Schools need real security upgrades now. It's time to listen to Minnesota's boots on the ground and pass the school-backed solution. Our kids can't wait another session. Let's get this done for them. And with that, I'll turn it over to Senator Rarick to talk finance.
Thank you, everyone. Jason Rarick, State Senator from District 11, and the Republican lead on the Education Finance Committee. And today I want to talk to you about some of the struggles that our schools are facing around their finances. Even though during a Democrat trifecta, they bragged about record school funding, an extra $2.2 billion into education, virtually every school district around the state came back afterwards saying, we're in the red. All the new mandates that were added ate up all the new funding. We've been bringing forward proposals for the last 3 years to try to rectify that situation. 4 of the bills that we have that we would look to help our schools and our families deal with this, one would be Senate File 3930 to expand safe school aid to non-public schools. As we've seen, our issues are not only at our public schools where we need to protect our kids. This bill increases the revenue overall and extends that eligibility to our charter schools and our non-public schools, who have been asking for this for years. Senate File 3648 is additional funding for staff at the Minnesota School Safety Center. This is a group under DPS of 8 folks who are there to help schools as a free resource. We can double their size and provide more resources for schools around the state, and this is for all schools, public, non-public, tribal, and charter schools have availability to work with these folks, and they can bring great resources to help them improve the safety in their facilities. Senate File 903 is one that would increase funding for non-public schools for counselors. When this was instituted in 1975, times were different, and 7th through 12th graders could get this funding for counselors. We all know in today's world, the sooner we can get to children with the mental health resources they need, the better the outcomes. So this bill would expand that to allow for funding to go for K through 6 students as well, where we can really get to the needs. And the last one that we'd like to talk about is Senate File 3878, which would ensure Minnesota would conform with the federal tax credits. This is not just something for the non-public schools. This is for schools across the board that would allow families to donate money into a fund that could go for scholarships, could go for tutors, could go for all kinds of education spending. And this is not going to cost the state of Minnesota anything, but it will help increase the funding available for our schools. And the last one, I will turn over to Senator Housley to talk about just how the mandates have crippled our schools.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah, speaking of the mandates, I remember being here in the spring of 2023 for a press conference right here, begging the Democrats to have give the Republicans some input on these mandates. There were dozens and dozens, more than 60 mandates, unfunded mandates that they were putting on our school districts, from paid family medical leave, earned sick and safe time, and summer unemployment. And we stood right here. I can give you the date because I want you to go back and look at it. It was May 8th. And we even had some of our superintendents saying, this is what's going to happen to our school districts. You are going to break the bank. And now we're here. All of those mandates were passed by the Democrat-controlled legislature. And lawmakers may see these as individual policies, but for our schools, they add up to a continuous and growing burden. So we're here, and these mandates are overwhelming our districts. Budgets are underwater, staff's being cut, and programs are shrinking. Parents are attending school board meetings by the dozens. You'll see them on the news almost every single night. They want to know what is happening. School boards are having to make some really tough decisions. What are they going to cut? The metro school districts alone, these mandates are costing over $225 million. And where do they make that up? Increase athletic fees, cut staff, have a higher student ratio, reduce transportation. This is all happening at our school board meetings right now. In 2025, over 70 school districts went out to ask their voters for more funding. And when I posted it on my social media account, everybody was like, well, what are you going to do about it? What are the Republicans going to do about it? Well, today I'm proud to introduce a bill, Senate File 3361, that gives Minnesota school districts and charter schools real relief and flexibility from these mandates. For the fiscal years 2025 through 2029 only, it lets school boards transfer funds between accounts to meet their local needs. And for the 2025-26 through 2028 and 29 school years, it allows them to opt out of specific new mandates passed in 23 and 24, all with full transparency through public school board discussions and votes. We do this not just because local control is a good thing for local schools, but because we know that affordability challenges that Minnesotans are facing on $10 billion in new taxes from the Democrats. Without raising a single property tax or asking for more money from the state, this bill will unlock the resources our schools currently have to meet their individual needs. By giving districts temporary fund transfer authority and the ability to opt out of the most burdensome new laws and rules from the 2023-24 session, we are restoring local control so boards can focus money and energy where it actually belongs, on students, teachers, and results. That's the purpose of our Safe and Smart Kids plan today. It's a focus on things that we all want: students and school safety without sacrificing academic achievement. This plan gives kids the A+ education they deserve. And with that, we will take questions. Thanks. And the Shamrock Shakes are out there, so not too many questions because I want to get there.
What kind of reaction are you getting from your Democratic colleagues? Have you run this by them?
Several of these bills were heard while we had the power sharing agreement temporarily last year, and many of them did not see their way into the final product. But we got these ideas when I specifically held the education policy gavel. We had 6 hours, 3 separate hearings of, we want the boots on the grounds in education to come tell us what they want. We had students, parents, SROs, teachers, principals, superintendents, school board members come tell us what they wanted, and they came up with our agenda for us. So if we want to be really focused on what our neighbors and our constituents are asking us to do, this is how we get it done.
Can I add to that?
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm really in a school, by the way, because much like you would stick your gum under the desk, someone stuck their gum under the podium there. It's probably Julia's. So to answer your question, there's something really important that we have to help the public realize, and all of you when you report on it, which is this. When a lot of these kind of heavy-handed, unfunded mandates were passed, I'm not going to rehash all of history and all the debates, we essentially said you're going to put districts into a massive deficit. I think that's shown that has happened, that has played out. But what's different now is you have our friends across the aisle trying to shift blame to something else completely. You can trace a lot of these deficits among our school districts exactly back to the bills they passed just a few years ago, not what's happening at the federal government. That's the distraction right now. They're trying to distract Minnesota voters and residents and families and parents and schools and districts by saying this is somehow the fault of the federal government. Now, I'm not going to over-politicize this. We are the state of Minnesota. We're the state legislature. But well before the election that decided who the new president would be, these districts were telling us these laws were going to put them into deficits, and we were already seeing them go deeper and deeper into the red. So what I would suggest is, my friends across the aisle, in good faith, and to solve this problem on behalf of our districts and students is to have an honest conversation as to why we're in this situation here in Minnesota, and be very honest and transparent with the voters, not to simply cast blame as a distraction and try to shift that responsibility elsewhere. It rests squarely on their shoulders and of the shoulders of the person who signed those bills into law and ultimately passed that budget, which, oh, by the way, spent an additional $20 billion, increased spending by 40%, increased taxes by $10 billion, and put us into a deficit. And that has nothing to do with the additional billions of dollars in fraud that we've now uncovered as well.
Senator Duckworth, you said you have bipartisan support.
I do.
On yours. Anybody else at this point?
Rarick spoke out here.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the program, the Minnesota School Safety Center, that is definitely one that has bipartisan support, that they work with all schools. So I think there are a couple things in here that we can definitely work with the Democrats on, but I think the reality is a number of these issues, it was their signature pieces of legislation that as of right now, they're just not willing to step back from that. And I'm hopeful that by continuing to talk about it and bring these points forward, the conversations will continue next year, and we'll really take a look at and listen to these superintendents and school boards to take a step back from what's happened here and figure out how to fix this at the state level.
And hope in the House, because obviously everything has to be bipartisan there. Are you working with your House members to get some of this going there?
Yes.
Senators, do you have a ballpark figure for how much these school safety improvements would cost?
I have not added them up completely.
Some of them are currently open appropriations, they're flexible.
Correct.
So-
Finding out what would be available. The one thing that we are looking at as well, we believe we can do a number of these things without increasing the spending. There are a lot of things that happened over the last couple of years that have education spending going up, that extra $2.2 billion. And I believe we can look at our priorities and rededicate some of that to these areas instead of the things that they've been funded for. But those will all be discussions in a broader sense, and unfortunately, we don't tend to be at the table when those discussions are happening, but we're going to continue to talk about that as much as we can and try to make them aware of where we think we could make some shifts if needed.
Capital investment conversation too, bonding?
I
Could it
couldn't-
even be considered in a bonding bill?
Yes, we would consider any of these proposals in the bonding bill, yes.
Senator Coleman, can I ask a follow-up? Did I get it right that your bill, after an incident, there would be a day off mandated distance learning? Can you clarify that part?
So that particular one is, there's a Senator Abler bill that would state that you would need a day or a day and a half, because there's been incidents where something terrible has happened to one student by another, and then school boards or the school districts are not allowed to remove the child that inflicted that incident out of the classroom. And so it just makes it really complicated for anyone to focus or pay attention or come up with a game plan when you can't have that pause or that reset. The other one that happened,
Is that for the individual child or everybody?
the individual child in question, yep. And the other one was about reporting incidents. A lot of parents don't necessarily know if these incidents even occur, so it's making sure that they are knowing about it.
See you at the Shamrock.
Yeah. I think Senator Johnson's in the green room, let me go get him.
Well, Senator Housley, can I just ask one bonding question? Just since you're the bonding senator. Sorry, there's still plenty of Shamrock shakes.
Okay,
I saw
good.
them when I
Good.
was passing it. There seems to be bipartisan support to do IT upgrades for the outdated systems that these counties are running Medicaid programs on. And there seems to be maybe some conversation or thinking that maybe bonding, that you could do that. Do you think that that's possible to bond for such upgrades, or would have to be a general fund appropriation?
To be honest, we haven't even had those conversations, either with the caucus or with the group of four of us, the House and the Senate, Dems and Republicans. So that hasn't even come up, and I actually hadn't even thought about it, because that hasn't come before me. So I'm sure it's something we'll be discussing in the next couple of weeks, because we're just starting now to tighten down, and Senator Pappas will sneak off the floor and we go meet upstairs. So we're just starting to dial into, if we have a bonding bill, what it would look like and what provisions we would put in there. But we're all still open to looking at everything, yes.
Are you optimistic that you'll pass one this year?
We're still looking at it, we still have,
St. Patty's Day after all.
Yeah.
There's some luck in the hour.
we really would like to have one. We all would, so let's just hope it works out that way. Yes, thanks.
All right, we'll do the other off topics. I have one here, Johnson, I actually Senator Kreun too, in case there's any fraud OIG questions.
They really can't swear.
Steve, I see we're both in the same spirit, aren't we, here with lack of green?
That was my mistake. I got up too early this morning and forgot to grab my green shirt.
Oh, boy.
Credit for going home after daycare drop off to change.
You do, you get extra credit on that one, so,
I'm a Scandinavian who married into an Irish family.
so you have to do that then, don't you? That's
I
good.
married into it too, but that's no excuse.
Well, welcome. We are here. I just want to take questions. I know there's been a lot going on today, from the OLA report to the governor's supplemental release, and then also with the Senate Democrats releasing some ideas on and approaches on fraud that they're having. So I just wanted to open it up, let you have some time. If you had any questions, just want to make some availability.
Cuts, yeah, let's start with that. The governor's budget cut, he again goes at nursing homes,
Right.
disability services. Republicans have not liked the nursing home cuts in particular. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, and Mary, what's interesting is that when you look through the supplemental budget package and the ideas that are happening there, a lot of those are drummed up ideas from the past, not original attempts at trying to really figure out ways that we can be helping out Minnesotans. These have failed in the past. They don't have Republican support. And quite frankly, I don't think he has the full support of the Democrats as well either. And so by going after the most vulnerable people in the state and by going after our counties, again, it's the wrong approach, the wrong time to be doing that. We got to be looking at some of the things that the agencies are doing. And that's why we're so focused on fraud, is making sure that, you know, we are taking those issues, those areas where Minnesotans can all agree, look, we don't want to be funding fraudsters. We want to make sure that we are supporting the most vulnerable. We want to make sure that we're supporting our communities, not these other entities.
On the tax side of the ledger, speaking of failed ideas, he's talking about expanding the sales tax and lowering it, social media tax, those types of things. Those have failed in the past. Are they not likely to pass this year?
Yeah, and again, you know, some of these ideas have been broached in the years past. I think we're probably going to end up with the same arguments against those ideas. Again, I don't see the pathway for this happening. You know, when you look at the net of what he's proposing, this is just briefly as we go through it, we'll refine the numbers, but it looks like about an $868 million increase in taxes again to Minnesotans. So when we're talking about affordability, as Republicans in the Senate and the House are talking about how can we help Minnesotans afford their life, Democrats are again turning and saying, hey, how can we tax Minnesotans more? And that's what we're seeing here again. Just so tone deaf to what we need in this state.
Would you be open to the, expanding the dependent child care credit or child credit?
This is something that we have appreciated the governor's work on. We'll be in those discussions again now. Unfortunately, when the Democrats spent the $18 billion budget surplus, raised taxes by $10 billion, and again continue to propose tax increase, it really is difficult to find the money for these things. But you know, where we can help families, that's what we want to be seeing. That's where money needs to be going, is towards our families and the tax breaks to them as well.
So in other words, childcare, that you're open to that tax provision, but not the other ones that were mentioned?
Yeah, we're looking at helping out families in whichever way that we can, and so we'll continue. We'll run this through our tax leads, and you know, Senator Weber will be working closely with Senator Rest on ideas like this. But again, you know, it's been a difficult road to hoe on some of these things, and we've been put into quite the corner on this one. But we're going to continue to look at ways that we can be helping out Minnesota families.
Can you comment on the OLA report, which found that, you know, DHS might have had existing tools in its toolbox to stop payments and investigate just kickbacks alone? We heard from the commissioner who said basically overall, the OLA have found that, the OIG handled complaints broadly well. It was just these 3 instances in which, kickbacks was the nature of the crime. And, is pushing the legislature to change the definition of fraud in statute. Is that something that you guys support, and can you comment more broadly about the report?
That's a great question. I'll turn that over to Senator Kreun here to talk a little bit about that. He's been working on a lot of these issues in a fraud, and I'll let you just speak to that there.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Regarding the kickbacks, and I think it's really what we learned about in that instance is that reinforces the need for our Office of Inspector General bill. That situation would have been handled considerably different and more effective had our statewide independent Office of Inspector General been in place when those instances happened, particularly if we had making sure we have a law enforcement division in that office. So that's my first reaction to that. As far as the definition of fraud, if you look in our Office of Inspector General bill, there is a new definition for fraud that the Senate overwhelmingly agreed on last year, and look forward to that becoming a part of it as well.
The proposals made by the DFL majority in the Senate today, have you had a chance to look at those, and do any of those look like things other than the Inspector General thing that's already passed? Anything there that you like?
Yeah, in fact, I co-authored one of those bills on the Senate floor this morning. So the one that has to do with legislators and former employees, I think it was Senator Kupek's bill, I know it was. So that goes to show, like, there are good ideas out there. I'm certainly willing to work across the aisle on any good idea that combats fraud, and I would hope that the Democrat caucus would do the same with our good ideas that we rolled out a few weeks ago here on our fraud package. If we could get that kind of spirit of collaboration and cooperation where we're looking at each other's ideas and incorporating them all together, I think we could make some progress.
Your OIG co-author, Senator Gustafson, said today all 4 caucuses are on board now on OIG. Do you think that's true?
That would be news to me. I think maybe we're all on board with the concept of an OIG, but how that OIG looks and operates in effect, 3 of the 4 caucuses are on board. The House Democrats still have their own ideas about what they want to see, and I just can't figure out why they can't get on board with what we worked on last year. As I said earlier, when we were here a few weeks ago on this, there are a few amendments that need to be done, so we got back together, got our universe of amendments, went through them, agreed on the ones that we all agreed on, 5 or 6 of them, ready to go for 3 of the 4 caucuses. And so if the House Democrats would just get on board, pass those agreed upon amendments, these are not huge fundamental amendments, they're just small changes, we could get this bill passed, we could get into law. There's really no excuse for this bill not passing and becoming law this year.
Do you think the governor is resisting, influencing their resistance?
I believe so, yeah, and I maintain that. Otherwise I don't understand what the reluctance by the House Democrats are with what we passed in the Senate last year, with some modest changes, and we're certainly willing to work with them on what some of those amendments are. But like I said before, we're not willing to reinvent the wheel. There's no need for that. We have a good bill that will combat fraud. Minnesotans overwhelmingly support it, and 3 of the 4 caucuses here support it. Let's get this done.
And the law enforcement, is that the hang-up?
Yeah, the last I heard anyway, the House Democrats were still insisting that there not be a law enforcement division, and that's absolutely unacceptable.
And your definition of fraud that you mentioned is an OIG bill, is it inclusive of kickback language? Because I know that's the kind of dust up between what DHS said its interpretation of the law was and what the OLA said its interpretation of the law was DHS saying we need that more, having explicitly in statute is what we need.
I believe so. I can get you the exact language in the bill on what that definition is, but certainly the intent of the bill would be for the Office of Inspector General to go after kickbacks.
That was in time to offer.
That was a good signal. Wrap it up, guys. Yeah.
I'll get it to 32.
I think Rachel called you to make.
Do you see any merit the governor's proposing a development fund for folks who lose their jobs because of AI technology? Do you see any merit to something like that?
Well, I haven't investigated that at all. This is the first time I've heard of that concept. We'll be digging into that. I think more broadly, we got to be looking at the Minnesota economy right now. When you look at the job growth here in the state, you know, our rankings are falling every year on this. So whether it's AI or the economic atmosphere that we have in the state, we need to make sure that Minnesotans have an opportunity here to go to work every day. And so we are happy to be looking at those issues right now. We'll investigate that further in the AI aspect as well.
The governor is also proposing $10 million in partially forgivable loans to small businesses impacted by Operation Metro Surge. Is that something that your caucus would support?
There are so many issues right now going on across Minnesota. When you go out and you talk to businesses, you talk to school districts, you talk to government units across the state, you know, we are causing so much consternation in this state with things that we can control. With the mandates that have been put on these entities, there is such an economic impact. Growth in rural Minnesota is going to be hurt by that so much. And yet the governor is selecting a very small group of people that he wants to help out in downtown Minneapolis and St. Paul primarily. And the reality is this is a much broader issue going across the state. And for the governor to do this, again, is a little bit of a slap in the face to most Minnesotans out there in Minnesota.
Wouldn't rural communities be eligible for it who were affected? There are high immigrant populations in rural Minnesota.
Look at where primarily the dollars are going to be directed. It's going to be two counties for the most part. It's going to be Hennepin County and Ramsey County. They're going to take up the lion's share of the funding once again. I mean, this happens over and over again, and all of a sudden our rural communities and our rural areas become kind of a backwater to what's going on down here at the state capitol. And so, you know, the proposal the governor puts out constantly about having his small interest groups, small folks, whether it's communities like this, there are such bigger issues that we could really be doing a lot of good generally across the state. Again, this is pretty tone deaf to what's happening in Minnesota.
Senator Kreun, I have a follow-up for you on the OIG bill. House Democrats, I've heard the argument that they believe that the bill that was passed last year is unconstitutional because of the governor being able to appoint the OIG and that situation. I assume you would disagree with that. Can you just walk through why you disagree with that?
How wonky do you want to get? Yeah. So what they're referring to is the appointment process of this person. And first of all, the bill is constitutional. We went out of our way to cover our bases there. So we wanted the office to be as independent as possible. So the Legislative Commission will still exist. We'll still interview publicly candidates in a very transparent way and come up with a list of recommendations. However, the governor is not legally bound to choose from that list of applicants. And that's a change that came in at the very last step. We held out as long as we could last year because we wanted the governor to choose from that list. But there were some constitutional questions about that since it's in the executive branch. So where the compromise was and what we came up with, I think it was in Rules Committee right before it went to the floor, was okay, the governor doesn't need to choose from that list. However, now we have a 3/5 confirmation by the Senate. That was the compromise. There's nothing unconstitutional about this bill. What they're saying now is one of the amendments, the 5 amendments I was talking about, there was still a reference in one part of the bill to the old version that didn't get cleaned up through the engrossing process. That's one of our amendments that's going to clean that up. So they're making a mountain out of a molehill. They're claiming that a drafting holdover error that we have already amendment for to address makes the bill unconstitutional, which quite frankly is very disingenuous.
right.
Right.
Thanks.
Just a
Thank you.
general, like, your observations of this legislative session question. You both have been here for a while. How does this year feel to you compared to years past?
Well,
I'm
I'll
in my
take,
first term, but go ahead.
I'll take it from my perspective in the minority. I would say that it does feel like it's operating somewhat normally, which in years past, the intensity of the session has been a lot greater. This year is a little bit more laid back in certain regards on the Senate side of things. We've got a lot of the same issues that are floating out there. You know, with the budget that it's pretty tight right now too. I think a lot of people kind of have an idea that not much is going to be really happening right now, maybe more towards the end, but we got a bonding bill that we're working on and things. But it seems like it's a little more business as usual in the Minnesota Senate at the moment.
I think it's a mixed bag. This is my first term, my first campaign year in the legislature, so obviously that part's a little bit different. Could be worse, could be better. But I've been told by people here what I'm experiencing in my first term in the Minnesota Senate is not normal at all compared to how this place is supposed to operate, and I remain hopeful that that's true.
On the campaign year front, do you have a recruit yet for Senator Limmer's seat?
You'll have to stay tuned. You'll have to stay tuned.
That's an important seat.
They're all important seats. We need every one of them. When it's split this close, we've got some really great candidates, some really great people that we're looking at that have been stepping up. So we're very excited for the year ahead of us.
Is Representative Robbins a candidate?
She's running for governor, yes.
We're not gonna get any more into that. We're walking that gray line of
All right.
taxpayers.
Do you
Thank
like the
you.
House plan to bring Senate members down to 45?
Yeah, did you see that?
I
Paul
know.
Torkelson's bill?
What's that?
Paul Torkelson's bill.
Is he taking on the Senate?
He wants to have 45 senators and 135 House seats.
Oh, I've never liked that guy.
I think Senator Barr has a similar bill. I don't know if they're companions or not, but that's something Senator Barr has been working on too. I think the intent there is so that there's not an even number of House members.
But still cutting the Senate.
Yeah, well,
It's
that
just a little
that
cherry
would
on top.
that would be an interesting
The ties
conversation.
are no longer theoretical, you both experience
Right.
them
Well, that's
last
just it.
year, right?
But it is an interesting concept too. We're the largest legislature in the country. So I know there's been those ideas been floated a lot in the past, so see how far that one makes it.
And the House, or Senate dog?
So this,
Wow.
so we've been talking about this for quite some time, where I'm trying to find a Senate dog, so I can have a golden retriever, retired one maybe, that's a little bit older, that can sit by my desk, and you've been keeping that up, so thank you for putting that on the front burner again. It's very important to you, and I'm hoping to get it done, so.
I've got a golden retriever.
All right, bring him in. All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.